Welcome, everybody, to It Tastes Different in Gaming News. What's on the news today? GTA 5 developer Take-Two lays off 600 employees. All right, before we jump in, make sure you hit like, share, hit the subscribe button, hit those notifications, and don't forget at the end of the video, jump in there and give us a little bit of your feedback. Tell us what you think. All right. As recently as February, Take-Two CEO said no layoffs were planned. Publisher Take-Two Interactive announced it's laying off 5%. Now, I didn't realize Take-Two is that big, but they're laying off 5% of its workforce and canceling several projects. That 5% equates to about 600 people. Take-Two revealed in an end-of-business SEC filing a plan to save itself more than $165 million in annual due to reductions in existing base and lowered projections expense growth for the coming years. That sounds like a lot of investor talk. In the process, it'll incur up to $200 million in charges, the majority of which is up to $140 million of that is related to the cancellation of projects, while another $25 to $35 million is related to employee severance and related costs. Take-Two also reducing its office space as part of the plan. Now, back in February, Take-Two CEO, I hope I don't butcher his name, but I don't like him, so I don't care, Strauss-Zelnick, said that the company had no current plans to undergo layoffs. To see this turnaround so fast, because we're just in the middle of April, probably closer to the end when you see this, said the company had no current plans to undergo layoffs, and to see this turnaround is particularly galling. Not because GTA 5 Take-Two owns one of the industry's greatest cash cows. Rockstar Games has made at least $8.5 billion since 2013. That's a holy crap amount. Of course, the elephant in the room is what will happen to GTA 6, and it's safe to say the highly anticipated sequel is not one of the council projects, but it is possible reduction in workforce could negatively impact its development, which could see it pushed from 2025 to 2026 due to development issues with being short-staffed because somebody decided to lay off 600 people. Now, in March, they bought Take-Two. Take-Two bought, Gearbox, the developers of Borderlands, for $460 million. What paid way too much, in my opinion. And GTA 6 is expected to be one of the most successful games of all time. Regardless, it's now contributing to the staggering number of layoffs hitting the video game industry from the pandemic boom, including Microsoft, EA, Sony, Riot, and more. Now, before I throw it over to Nick, I do want to point out that I did just a quick check, and this is an article from July of last year, of 2023. The execs at Take-Two, CEO Strauss-Zelnick and company president Karl Slatoff are paid jointly through their management company, ZMC, in a contract that calls for a 60-40 split. Now, their pay is disclosed, but Take-Two Interactive is paying its top two executives last year $72,350,000 plus change between the two. So it's a 60-40 split, but let's just say it's 50-50. That's $36,500, give or take, each, $36.5 million each a year. That's a lot of people that could have stayed employed. Granted, performance and all that, they have their ups and downs a little bit, but that is doubled what they made the year prior of 2022. Now, I don't know what they're working on this year, but that's a lot of goddamn money that could have went to the employees, the people that actually make the games, the people that actually make that company profits. That's just me. But I think it's pretty shitty and cowardly for a company of this magnitude and size to screw over 600 people like that. But that is me. I get pissy about these things because I'm pro people. Even though I'm not a people person, I am pro people. So, Nick, what do you think about this money saving maneuver? Is it Grand Theft Auto?
It is. It is Grand Theft Auto. Yeah, I mean, this is just a bunch of corporate jargon for our shareholders and top execs need more money, right? Every company year after year has to make more and more profit every single year, more profit than they made last year, right? That's the incentive. And so if you're not going to, and for Take Two, it's like with Grand Theft Auto 6, you're going to be making a crap ton of money. It's like one of the biggest games, you know, going to be releasing in 2025, right? I think that's right now what the release date is. And they're going to make a crap ton of money from it. But what this is, like I said, it's just that. It's just the shareholders and corporate executives just need more. They just want to make more money, right? And that's it, at the expense of the employees. Like at any company, any big company, the employees are expendable, right? They don't. I mean, the employees is what got you where you are today, but they don't give a crap about that as long as they're making more money than before. And if they're not making more money, they're going to cut, making that money. Or they're gonna make that up by not reducing the CEO pays, or not just forecasting something lower, or not just releasing something. I mean, the last big title you released was Grand Theft Auto 5, which was like 10 years ago, right? I mean, this is Rockstar, but I mean, Take-Two owns them. And I'm sure they have released other games, but I mean, like the big, title that we haven't seen from Take-Two is Rockstar, or is Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption, right? And it's been like 10 years since those games came out. So of course your revenue is going to go down, right? The people playing Grand Theft Auto 5 are going to move on to other things. You're not going to keep that. You're going to keep a certain amount of base, but you're going to lose base over time. That's what even Bungie's going through with Destiny. We've talked about that before, right? Destiny's losing players, and that's just because people are ready for other things, right? They're moving on. Same thing with Grand Theft Auto Online. There's still a lot of people playing, but there's also a lot of people that are moving on, right? They're moving on to other things. So that's going to happen. And if Take-Two wants to keep that profit margin or whatever, then they need to release stuff a little bit quicker, or release things in the interim while they wait for Grand Theft Auto 6 or their heavy hitters to come out. But yeah, I mean, this is absolutely just 100% bullshit is what it is. I hate, I'm tired of seeing crap like this, but that's the capitalistic society that we live in, is, more and more money every single year. Why do you need to make more money than the last year? That's just one thing I don't get. Like maybe because I don't make a lot of money, right? Maybe because I'm not a rich billionaire, but I just don't understand it. Like if you have billions of fucking dollars, why do you need billions more? Right? What are you going to do? You can't even spend the billions you have. Why do you need billions more? What are you going to do with it? You're not going to do anything with it. It's just going to sit there. It's like it becomes this like disease for these people where they have to have more even though they have enough, right? I mean, if I had billions of dollars, I'd be cool. I'd be like, yeah, all right, I'm done. I don't need to make more money, right? Like, whatever, I don't need to. I'm just going to live the rest of my life and my kids' lives, and we're just going to have a great time. And then they'll be set up for the future when I die, because I have billions of dollars and it's not going to go away anytime soon. So, we're all good. At some point down the lineage, yes, it will go away, but I mean, that's years and years and years away, right? The kids. This pillow's having me a hard time. The kids or the future kids of my kids can figure that out at that time. But before the robot overlords take us, But until then, yeah, I mean, this kind of stuff, I feel bad for the workforce. I hate to see people get laid off and their jobs cut. But again, you have a company as big as this with as many employees as they do, and they're cutting their employees out just because they're not going to hit a certain revenue metric, that they're an arbitrary number, right? That's always the thing I hate about like revenue forecasting is like, oh, we should make this much. And if they don't, they're like, oh, and it's like, well, you don't know that, right? I mean, you forecast it. It's like the weather, like, the weatherman says it's going to rain and then it doesn't. And you're not going like, oh my God. It's like, well, I mean, they don't know that it's they can give you a percentage, but whether or not it does that or not, who knows? And it's the same thing with revenue, right? You can forecast it. You can kind of guesstimate how much money something's going to make, but companies should really, if they don't make the revenue that they have, they should have something to fall back on. Except for it feels like they don't. It almost feels like if they don't meet whatever criteria they set, it's like, oh my God, hair's on fire. Like, we're going out of business. Like, put up the yard sale signs, going out of business signs, like we're done for. But it's like, that's because you're a publicly traded company and you told your shareholders you were going to make this much money and you didn't. And that's the biggest problem with all of it. Shareholders and greedy corporate CEOs who just want to keep, putting their thumb on the people that actually make them the money, right? The people that actually make them the money are the employees that they're letting go. Without them, they wouldn't be anything. They would be nothing but, nothing at all, right? They'd just be a bump on the log. But it's the employees that built the company up, that produce the products that go out to consumers, that the consumers buy. It's like, if all the employees left and you had nothing but the CEOs sitting around, well, you ain't getting a Grand Theft Auto 7. You ain't getting crap, right? They're gonna just shut the company down and move on to something else. That's all that would happen. So we don't need them. They don't seem to do anything other than fill their pockets full of cash. So yeah, I think it's just complete and utter bullshit.
Well, I mean, it's really, there's really not much to say that you haven't said, because it does come down to just straight greed. It's not about profit. It's just greed. Investors have too much goddamn power. Pardon my language. And they're making record profits. I don't get how they can, try to save money when they're making record effing profits. All these companies are doing, they're making record profits and they're laying people off. That doesn't make sense. And it's a complete scam. It's a complete farce. And we need legislation to stop this crap. Investors have too much power. CEOs are getting paid way too goddamn much. There's one thing to get a bonus for doing a good job. Okay. $40 million is probably what these asshats are going to make this year each, while 600 people are going to be going on unemployment, on food stamps, and all this, whatever else they need. It's a scam. It's a farce. Now, that being said, we don't know every position that is being laid off. I mean, it could be because they are trying to reduce office space. It could be, just freaking housekeepers, cafeteria people as well. But, it is going to be developers and all that. And there's no reason for it. It's a scam. And it breaks my heart when I see game companies do that, because I've always imagined, I don't know anybody who develops games, but I've always imagined those people doing what they're passionate about and what they love. That's the way I always see it. From just programming guy to, the guy who, decides how big the mustache goes on. I mean, just, I always see these guys as passionate about what they do. And when they lose their jobs, it just pisses me off when the reasons are like this a lie. They're just lies. They're just lies to feed the public, to feed their gaming crowd. To it's just disgusting. A real CEO, a real boss, would have took a pay cut. They would have took that pay down to half. Each of those bosses, to keep those people employed longer. That's a boss. That's how you manage people. You take care of them. But before I start using a lot of, they could have, but I guarantee they didn't.
Could have. They could have and said, you know what, let's take a pay cut to ride out the rest of the year or whatever. And then when Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, we'll make it up and then we can go back to where we were, right?
Yep.
Because we're going to make an outstanding amount of revenue from Grand Theft Auto 6. We already know that, right?
Yeah.
So they could have done something like that, but they don't. And that's why you also see what you were talking about before with games, is that's why, recently we've seen a lot of games from smaller studios or, indie studios, but also smaller studios or studios that don't have, not always, but studios that have a smaller footprint, bring out some really great games, because to me, at least, it feels like a lot of those games are they have a lot more passion behind them. They're not this corporate, I like a lot of Ubisoft games just feel like a corporate cookie cutter piece of garbage, right? And that's why I don't dislike. That's why I dislike most of them. Not all of them. I thought Prince of Persia was really good, but I mean, there's some times where, most of the time, when Ubisoft brings something out and it's bad, or EA or Activision, right? It's just got that microtransaction corporate just pasted all over it. It's there to make money and not to just have fun and show the gamers the creativity and passion of creating video games. And that's where I mostly lean towards anymore. Like I said, it's not always, but a lot of the time, smaller development groups and indie titles and stuff, because I find those they're just more fun, right? It's not really about the microtransactions. It's just there's more thought behind it and more creativity behind it and more fun behind it.
What is the most popular game out right now? Helldivers 2.
Game?
Helldivers 2. Yeah. Helldivers 2 is developed by Arrowhead Studios. Now, they were published by Sony, but they were developed by Arrowhead Studios, 100 employees. That game is making money hand over fist. The cost of that game at launch was, Nick, correct me if I'm wrong, was $50.
I think it was 40.
Was it 40? See, well, I paid 10 because I bought a package in it. But the game is so well done. Game. It's so well done. It's so unique. It's so put together well. And it's constantly being tweaked, updated, modified, good and bad. Good and bad. We've seen changes we don't like. We've seen changes we love. That is what game developers like Take-Two, Ubisoft, that's what they used to do. They used to make unique, and your money went to something you're going to get so much time and love out of. Now you don't get that. Helldivers 2 is a game that I typically would not drop extra money on, but they released it at a good price. The content is solid. It's a great playing game. It's a fun game. The three of us, Pat's out right now, we play it damn near every goddamn night, except for when I'm told I have to do dishes. But we play it almost every night. That game is just fun all around. That's a smaller developer creates more unique. They don't have probably large investors and all that stuff, and greedy ass CEOs. And that's why the game is good, because they got people with passion behind it, in my opinion. I don't know for sure, but I guarantee that Take-Two CEOs are not running a game company. They're running a piggy bank for themselves. That's it. That's all they're caring about. That's all the investors care about. And it pisses me off because employees lose jobs. All right,
Yeah.
I'm pissed off. I'm glad we decided to talk about this. All right, you got anything else, bud?
No.
All right, well, we're pissed. What about you? Are you pissed? We're pissed. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Tell us what you think about Take Two. Tell us what you think about the layoffs. Tell us what you would do as an investor, how you would handle that situation if you had enough power as an investor to be able to say, you know what, no, take away from the CEOs, screw those guys. What would you do? How would you handle it? But give us all that in the comments below, and don't forget to hit those notifications and all that good stuff. Subscription, that's one of my favorite buttons down there. Make sure you hit that. And until next time, see ya.